Hello everyone, my name is Natalie Gutierrez, and today I will be presenting on babies with asthma. Firstly, asthma is a condition where one's airways narrow and swell, which makes it difficult for someone to breathe. Throughout the rest of the slides, I will be discussing infants with this condition and the impact on this group. Since anyone can get asthma at any age with various causes, the population I will be focusing on is babies ages 0 to 3 years old. Also, the infants that live in the area of Los Angeles, California. Additionally, this issue is significant because in this age group, the symptoms are quite varied. The reason is the symptoms of a cough or shortness of breath can also appear in a variety of other pediatric conditions, such as respiratory tract infections and genetic airway defects, essentially making diagnosis difficult. Also, in certain cases of infants with asthma, the symptoms are more virally caused than allergically evoked. To add, asthma in this age group is often underdiagnosed and undertreated. In this image from the Allergy Asthma Network, I just wanted to point out the statistic of 1 in 10 children being diagnosed with asthma in the US, which is quite interesting to know that asthma is common among children. Now onto the physiology of asthma in infants. Firstly, the diaphragm and the external intercostal muscles are the key muscles that allow for inhalation while breathing. They are also utilized to pump more air into the lungs. So when the infant's intercostal muscles and diaphragm need assistance getting air through blocked and narrowed airways due to increasing resistance, these muscles are activated. Also, in the image comparing a normal airway versus an airway with asthma, there is a significant distinction. The airway with asthma has a tightened muscle and an inflamed lining, while the normal airway does not have both a tightened muscle or inflamed lining. Now onto the pathophysiology. There are 3 characteristics of asthma for infants. One is airway inflammation, which is caused by different initiating factors, such as viral respiratory infections or environmental allergens. A second trait is airway obstruction by either edema, which is puffiness caused by excess fluid trapped in the body's tissues, bronchospasm, which is when the muscles that line up the bronchi tighten, or mucus hypersecretion, which can block the small airways in an infant. The third trait is bronchial hyperresponsiveness, which is where the amount of bronchial activity in asthma is linked to the course of an infant's sickness, which is defined by remission in exacerbation stages. I also included a flowchart showing how anything triggering can induce asthma by causing airway inflammation and thus leading to the symptoms of wheezing or shortness of breath. Additionally, I also wanted to show the internal process of cells when a triggering element such as an allergen or a virus affects someone with asthma. So the mast cells and the macrophages aggravate airway inflammation by interacting with other cells, such as neutrophils, when exposed to a triggering allergen or viral infection. In one of my research findings, I wanted to reveal a comparison chart of childhood asthma versus adult asthma. There is quite some similarities, such as the symptoms in both an adult and a child. But again, the asthma symptoms differ from one child to the next. The major difficulty with infants is they cannot express their emotions and feelings as adults can. In my next research finding, I wanted to share data from the Los Angeles County Health Survey for asthma. Specifically, I wanted to point out that the youth under 18 diagnosed with asthma in the Los Angeles County area claims that there was a 79.8% increase from 2015 to 2017, which is more than half. Overall, the findings of this Los Angeles County Health Survey highlight the ongoing problem of childhood asthma. Furthermore, patient treatment. Most asthma treatments for older children and adults are safe to administer to newborns and toddlers. The dosage may be lowered, and the way of treatment for the child may differ. To add, inhaled drugs alleviate symptoms more rapidly and have few side effects. Medications are often given to infants through a nebulizer or inhaler via a spacer with a mask. I provided a picture on the side of what an inhaler with a mask and what a nebulizer looks like. Now on to the recommendations for parents with infants. It is best to learn the warning signs for increasing asthma in infants and toddlers. And knowing the child's particular asthma symptom pattern would be great. Also, creating an asthma implementation plan with the pediatrician or doctor is a great recommendation. No smoking around the infant because it could worsen their asthma. And also give the doctor prescribed medications to the infant for the best quality of care. A last recommendation I make is that installing an air purifier in the baby's room is a good idea because the quality of the air in the home can have a major impact on the infant's well-being. I also included on the side the symptoms of asthma in babies to help notice when a child is in distress or experiencing asthma symptoms, such as rapid breathing, wheezing or coughing, difficulty sucking or eating, fingertip or nail bed discoloration, or panting when sitting or playing, and nostril flaring. And here's my works cited page. Overall, thank you so much for listening on my presentation on asthma in infants.